Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Lala from Dream Path Studio, and today we are going to be making our nails look more 3D. So I'm going to start off by setting my nail templates to reference, choosing my base color on a new layer. We're going to be filling our nails. We do not fill nails on the templates themselves, always on a new layer. I'm going to add a new layer on top and set it to clipping mask. Notice the organization of my layers. If you've been having problems with having your elements fit inside your nails properly, you might want to check out my blog on 5 Procreate mistakes you could be making, and I'll link that in the description box below. But moving on, we're going to choose this color with that hex code, and I'm going to use my Aura brush from the Nail Artist brush pack, and I'm just going to add a shadow near the cuticle. Moving on to layer 5, I'm going to set the opacity to 15%, and on layer 3 I'm going to set the opacity to 60%. I really should start naming my layers, but I will name them later on in the video. But going forward in my tutorials, please remind me to name my layers so I can clearly identify them to you. But anyway, on the layer that is set to 15% opacity, I'm going to use dark purple for my shadow color, and the general pen, the size of the pen is at 100% and the opacity is at 100%. You can choose black if you feel more comfortable choosing black as your shadow color. But now we're going to move on to the highlights, and I'm going to choose white as my color. I'm going to use the same brush, general pen from the Nail Artist brush pack, and set it to 15%. The opacity of that layer is at 60%, and then I'm just going to draw these little corner highlights. And the reason why I start off with corner highlights is because I don't know how the design is going to develop, and I like to do different highlights for French tips, and I like to use different highlights for nails that have a lot of 3D elements on them. So I start off with like just a corner highlight, and then depending, like once I'm done designing the nails, then I'll finish off the highlights, depending on what's on the nail. Okay, so that's basically it. That's how you make your nails more 3D. But if you have French tips in your design, I'm going to show you how to make that pop a little bit more. So I'm going to name them. Everything that you're going to draw on your nails are going to fit between the cuticle shadow layer and the shadow layer. So I'm going to add my French tips in between those 2 layers. I'm just going to quickly draw them. If you are interested in the French tip brushes, the link to access the creative room, which is what I call an area on my site that holds all of my freebies, I'll link that in the description box. But yeah, I'm gonna duplicate the French tip layer and set the lower layer to alpha lock, because we're gonna go ahead and change the color. You'll know that alpha lock is turned on when you can see this checkerboard on its thumbnail and when there is an arrow beside the word alpha lock. I'm gonna be using this color here, and I am gonna go back to that layer and tap on fill layer. Once I have it filled and the colors change, I'm going to turn alpha lock off by tapping on the layer and clicking alpha lock again so that the check mark disappears. Alternately, you can use 2 fingers to swipe to the right to turn it on and off that way as well. So now we're going to go over to adjustments, go to Gaussian blur, and then we are going to blur it to about 5% or so. And that is how I add a little bit more dimension to my French tips, and that's how we make our nails look more 3D. That's it for this video. I hope you learned what you needed to learn. Happy planning, and bye for now.